All right, welcome back. This one is a beautiful list. It's one of the best. So there's plenty of fragrances that I've left out of this list. They're great and I love them, but I feel like there can be better versions of it and I wish someone would make it. But this list that I've put together right here of like 13 fragrances, but there's actually more than 13 in this list, is like the top of the pops, the cream of the crop, the bloop of the blop. Anyway, I call this list best in class. It's because if there was a class, it would be the best in its class. And it is classy and the best. And that's why it's called best. Maybe I shouldn't explain it. The list is best in class, as in you smell it and you go, yep, this is as good as this class of fragrance can actually ever get. So if you have any of these in your collection, great. If you don't, then smell it and you will also see that they are indeed best in class. Let's kick off with, so I'm going to give these sort of weird, well, if they're in class, then I have to label them. I have to label them and categorize them because we love categories. And so I'm going to, they might not be to your categorization, but this is how I've categorized them. Amber Fougere. So I'm going to start off with an Amber Fougere, and it is by a company called, or a house called MDCI, like this, and this is called Invasion Barbare. Barbare, as in the barbarian, an invasion of barbarians. Okay, this is a phenomenal scent. It's got the bust on the top. You can get them with a proper sort of just like a little cap kind of thing. You pay an unreasonably amount extra to get the bust cap, but I think it just adds to the theater of the scent itself. And I smelled this at a friend's house once and I went, yep, automatically on the list. I don't care. This has to be mine, and it is just the best, most classiest Amber Fougere in the world of all time. It's been around for like almost 20 years now. Cardamom, lavender, other goodness in here, but let me just say it's best in class. I'm not going to go too deep into notes into these ones because when I say it's the best in class, it's not just the notes that make it that way. It's the consolidation of the notes and how they've been blended together that really make it so. Longevity is pretty damn good as well. And I think that also might contribute, but I'm trying to not let it contribute to my actual scoring or ranking system of what makes a fragrance best in class. It's the fragrance itself that actually makes it best in class. Let me put this guy back in his box, move him away. On to the next one, which is a Woody Fougere. Woody Fougere, and that is classic. It is Jazz by Yves Saint Laurent. Now, Yves Saint Laurent got Jazz over here. I'm going to pull out all the stops and sort of show you all the derivations of Jazz. So they came in a 100 ml. They also came in a, even the box was the black and white piano key box. Like this, they came in a big and a small one. These are delicious, some of the best freaking scents ever. I remember smelling these in like the early 90s and seeing them in like pharmacies and stuff like that, but I thought, yeah, it smells great, but I think I'm like not old enough to appreciate this, and sure enough, later on in life, I did end up appreciating them. They then became in this, they came in this sort of clearer bottle. However, this is live Jazz. This is the fresher sort of flanker, I guess. Smells nothing like Jazz. This is more like grapefruit and minty. It's not that great, really. But I tell you what is great. They did release another flanker called Jazz Prestige, and that came in a bottle that looks like this. And this actually is a smooth and more citric version of Jazz with a little bit more funk, as in pungency, to it. But I thought I loved it more than Jazz until I re-wore Jazz. and I was wrong. Jazz is still the best one out of all of the lineup. It is best in class. I haven't smelled anything even remotely as good as Jazz, even in the niche category. So I'm just going to, I remembered, this is both niche and designer, and it just means that this designer scent is better than any niche scent that is out there that is smelling like this. Best in class. And so the next one is going to be called, or the next class or the next category is going to be called a woody aromatic. Woody aromatic. What's woody and aromatic? Well, it is Tsar by Van Cleef and Arpels. Funny story about this. This is the first formulation of it. You can tell by the font. I think the A and the how the A is on the font. I don't know if that's visible. Is that visible? Here. Like that. The A that is on the font is different in the different formulations. This is first formulation, right? There is a second formulation which has like this light green sort of juice with a gold top and bottom and a striated clear bottle. Then there is a third formulation which looks like this. The bottle looks like this, but it's a darker sort of green. And I had the third formulation until recently. I just sold it. And I sold it because I did a side-by-side. And I thought, I originally wore the third formulation and I thought, wow, this is fantastic. It's super nice. It's still Tsar, but it seems kind of clean. Like it's too clean. Like it's too clean and soapy. Whereas this has some dirt in it. Has some dirt in it. And I think that's because of the oak moss that's being used, the real oak moss that's being used in here, right? Now, I got rid of that. So I kept this. This has slightly better longevity than the third formulation. Third formulation is still great by any means, but if you do want the real deal, you got to get this first formulation. Now, everybody thinks that this is discontinued, and if you look online on eBay and stuff like that, everyone will tell you that it is discontinued. However, it's not discontinued. It is still available, but you have to go to the Van Cleef and Arpels boutique in Paris, and it is in their exclusives sort of line. You can only buy it there. You can't find it online. You have to go to the Van Cleef and Arpels boutique in Paris to be able to buy it there physically. So you can still buy Tsar, but again, it is reformulated. It's probably formulation number 4 or 5 or something like that. So yeah, if it smells anything remotely close to this, then you're on a winner. It is definitely best in class, and I can see why. It's so smooth. It's so, I don't know, it's just so good. It's better than good. It's best. It's best in class. Next one we have is, well, it's amber woody, and it's a tie. I couldn't decide between the two. I couldn't decide between the two because I love them both equally, and I'm just thinking they're both best in class. They are both best in class. Like I was saying, I'm pulling out all the stops for this. So here we go. This is King Blue by Amouage. Doing the old unboxing. Here, hopefully it doesn't fall over. Nestled in here. I'm very careful when I'm handling King Blue, because even the act of opening the cap like that to smell it means that the rest of the day this entire area will smell like King Blue. It is that strong. I once made the mistake of putting on maybe about a dozen sprays of this and got in the car. That was a fun ambulance ride, explaining to them why I needed to call them. It's King Blue. They don't have they didn't have the defibrillators ready. Anyway, that is equal first for the amber woody. What is it equal first with? People are going to hate me, people are going to love me. All right, it is Coromandel by Chanel from the Les Exclusives line. Bang! It's another beast. It's an absolute beast. Now this is the eau de toilette. You cannot find this anymore, and I don't have much of it left. it is delicious and very dirty. That's why I recently got the Eau de Parfum, which is also delicious, but not that dirty, as you can see. Even the color difference between the two bottles here, there is a hell of an amount of difference. However, this is from like 2007, and this is only from like a couple of years ago. Still good, a little bit smoother, still good. But then you also have Coromandel Parfum, which comes in these 14 ml or 15 ml Parfum bottles. Absolutely the smoothest of the line, and just brother, oh, so good, like amazingly good. I cannot fathom how anyone can. Actually, I can. It's a bit divisive, but that I smelled it the first time and I said that is best in class from then. And it has been best in class in this amber woody sort of class or category until I smelled King Blue and I went, oh my God, that's also best in class. My rules, my video, I can have more than one fragrance that is best in class. Yeah. The next one we go to Amber Spicy. Amber Spicy. What's Amber Spicy? I don't know. I might be clutching at straws here with these classes, by the way. So cut me some slack. It is Danger by Roja. Now, to those people that say, oh, what about Heritage by Guerlain? To those people, I would say, relax, buddy. Just relax. I've got the vintage versions of those, and I've smelled them both, and I do have them. I've got a little bottle of one, and I've got a decanter of the other one, and they're great, and I thought that they were fantastic until I got a proper bottle of Roja's Danger, and I just got blown away by just how much more present it is. Like, the idea of Heritage is great, but the execution in Danger just surpasses it, in my opinion. When you have something that is like great and you think this is great, and then something else comes along that just goes, that's just so far better, like far better. It's not close. Like some people say, oh, it smells similar, you could use one over the other. You can't. And the people that do haven't really smelled this. Not in the Parfum Cologne, in the Parfum. That's what it's all about. With Roja's, you need the Parfum, especially with Danger. Best in class by a long shot. It really does remind me of this. It's got this coolness and crispness to it, spiciness, and then a bit of warmth in there as well. Blending, longevity, projection, everything is on point. Best in class. Next, we've got a woody spicy. Why not? Or a spicy woody. That's a hot tamale. Okay. It is my favorite fragrance of all time. How could I not put it on this list? It's my favorite fragrance of all time. It is Gucci Pour Homme 1. This is probably more expensive than gold right now. And rightly so, because it's amazing. Longevity, not that great. Okay, I don't care. It makes me feel like I just walked through a char-grilled Orthodox church, dressed in a tux. I don't know, something like that. It's smoldering. It's fantastic. It is me in a bottle, and I think I'm down to like maybe 65 mils left in this one, but luckily somebody has saved me by giving me a whole ton of like little sampler atomizers, which I've decanted, so I won't be running through this like I have been. This was full only like a couple of years ago, so great, amazing fragrance. Again, it's one of those ones where people pine about it and say, oh, it was so good, I wish they would make this again. Oh, and I didn't go all out for this one because those are all different houses, but a lot of people say, oh, there's things that smell similar to this. Have you tried Bentley's Absolute for Men? Yes, I have a bottle of that. I've tried it. Have you tried, what's the other one? Papyrus Oud 77 by, you know, the perfumer's house. The perfumer that created Gucci Pour Homme also created his own version of it in his own house. I forgot what they were called. Papyrus Oud 77 by Parfums the something, right? And I've got a bottle of that as well. Have you tried Incense Avignon by Comme des Garçons? That's similar. I've tried that as well. Have you tried Man 2 by Comme des Garçons? I've tried that as well. Have you tried Juicy Couture, the one, Juicy Couture one? I've tried that as well, right? That nothing comes close. Like, you think it does, but nothing really comes close to the original. Like, they kind of smell similar, and in the air you might think that, yeah, okay, you can pass it off, but if you're wearing it, it's clear. The difference is very, very clear which one is which. And to me, there's no substitute. And the one that stands head and shoulders above all of the rest of them is Gucci Pour Homme 1. And then we get to a woody Chypre. A woody Chypre. Now, what could be a woody Chypre? None other than probably what would have been my most favorite fragrance of all time, if it were not for the fact that I only ever had one bottle of it. If I wore it more often, I'm sure it would have replaced Gucci Pour Homme 1. This is Louis by Rochas. And I've got a tiny bit here in my bottle. And this is a dark neroli. That's what it is. And funnily enough, the same perfumer who did this did Gucci Pour Homme 1, who also did Bentley for Men Absolute, who also did Papyrus Oud 77. This, Louis and Gucci Pour Homme 1, his best work, right? Great, amazing work. Michel Almerac, that's his name. And this, of course, is very well known, and that's why it's super expensive. This is not as well known, so even though, you know, it's discontinued and people try and gouge you for it on eBay, it's not as expensive as buying a bottle of Gucci Pour Homme 1. I'd say it's better than Gucci Pour Homme 1 in terms of scent. However, because I don't have that connection to it, because I didn't wear it long enough, it's there as my number 2. So, however, in its class of a woody Chypre, Louis, nothing comes close to it. Longevity is off the charts for me on this one. It's one of those ones where your skin just sort of gravitates towards it. And it's got a really cool bottle as well. If you put it flat on like a flat surface, it'll like rock and roll like that. And I like the name, Louis. Louis, which I think in French is just man, like a male, right? Is that what it is? Louis is male? I think so. Pour Louis, for him, something like that. Next is the amber woody category. Now, I'd be worried if I had an amber woody, but in fragrance, it is a category. You've been holding it for too long. It's gone amber. All right. This is, keep it clean, Raf. All right. This is Balenciaga Pour Homme. Again, another discontinued classic. And I thought, it cannot be, like, I've been let down so many times by discontinued classics where I pick it up, discontinued unicorns that are classic fragrances. I pick them up, I smell them, I test them, I wear them, and I'm like, it ain't that great, buddy. It's not that great. Don't let nostalgia make things greater than they used to be. I never wore this when it came out, right? I think, 1990? Can't remember. But I never wore this when it came out. But I got it recently and absolutely blown away. First smell, first wearing, I was like, oh, I can see why. This is one of the very, very few fragrances that are hyped up, that are not even worthy of the hype. I think they exceed the hype, and I can understand why they're extremely expensive and hard to come by. But I think, I mean, they had a good run. They produced these for 11 years, so there should be plenty of examples available. However, these days you're gonna have to pay a pretty penny to test it out and to wear it. This bottle is probably at 60%, and I've got like 10 ml of it decanted somewhere else because I don't like this sprayer. It's stupid integrated sprayer. Best in class for the amber woody category. Moving on to the Chypre, a fruity Chypre category. I think I've done a video on this particular fragrance before, and I've only got a 7.5 ml travel atomizer of it. It is another Roja. It is best in class by far. It's the Chypre of all Chypres. This is Diaghilev. This one, Diaghilev. Just amazing. Like, people might say, oh, it's a copy of Mitsuko. Go watch my video on how I did that review between Mitsuko and Diaghilev. I was like, I hadn't smelled Diaghilev for a very long time. I have a vintage Mitsuko from the 1960s, which smells incredible. I was wearing it yesterday. It smells incredible, right? 1967, unopened. I opened it. I wore it. I've decanted it and I've been wearing it. It gets better actually. I've had it for like a year and it's gotten better since I opened it. Diaghilev I've had maybe for a few months now. And it is, some people say, yeah, get a full bottle. It's definitely worth a full bottle. It is worth a full bottle, but I just don't have enough occasions to be able to pull out something as spectacularly attention-grabbing in the right way as Diaghilev. It's just mastery of perfumery, and nothing comes close, unfortunately. Even if I come across a vintage version of a pristine Parfum extrait version of Mitsuko, I highly doubt it would be, even Mitsuko on its best day in its best formulation would not touch Diaghilev. They smell similar, but Diaghilev's on another planet. Just the way it is, and that's why it's best in class. Next we get to Floral. I had to put it as a floral. It is actually a rose oud, and a rose is a flower. And so my favorite rose oud of all time is probably one of the more expensive bottles of fragrance that I've actually got, because it's from the house of Boadicea the Victorious, and it is called Dasman. Dasman, not like a proctologist. It's Dasman is, I think, a name of a thing, place, a ruler, or some person, something like that. Dasman. I don't know. I read it and then I forgot about it. I'm way busy. Right, here we go. That's what it looks like. It's a very lovely bottle, lovely black. Love that color, black and gold. Fresh but deep rose, almost spicy. Oud in there as well, and a lot of notes in the supporting cast. Kind of complex. Longevity is weird. Sometimes it's off the charts. Sometimes I can't smell it 5 hours later, which is odd for Boadicea the Victorious line of fragrances because their oil concentrations are very high usually. However, when I did smell this the first time at a local perfume house, a local perfume shop who stock Boadicea the Victorious in Australia, I thought, I got to get me a bottle of this. I was on the lookout forever, and I found it and I got it, and I do not regret it because I do wear it regularly. I wear this to the office. It's actually kind of versatile. As occasion-ish as it is in terms of a fragrance, it's actually quite versatile, but definitely on the very expensive side. So mind your wallet. Now let's get to a very summery scent. It's a citrus aromatic. Let's call it that. This is Renaissance by Xerjoff. I'm going to take it out of its box. Put that there. It comes in a box like that. And the box is inside. There's a box inside the box. And then inside this box, there is another box. I see what you're doing there, Italians. All right, X marks the spot. This box, they call this a coffret, because it's like a coffin. And inside it you have this lovely paper which unveils the bottle inside. And inside this bottle, I shall show you that there is not very much left, right? So you got Xerjoff there, you've got the little pattern there, you've got the, what is this, the toothpick, I don't know what it's called. But this is a summertime staple. It will always be in my collection no matter what. And I think I might need to top up. I may have 35 mils left in here. This was full when I got it. About 2.5 years ago. So I do use this very regularly in the summertime. Longevity is it's almost like magic. How do they make something so citrusy, so aromatic, hang around for such a long time? Kind of linear, right? One thing I did notice about this though, don't wear it in winter because it can get very annoying very fast. In the summer, it's magic. In the winter, it's shit. It's so weird. So I put this away to hibernate when the colder months are here, and I only pull it out in the summertime. But when I smelled this, I thought, this is the best thing that Xerjoff make, and I've smelled a lot of Xerjoffs, and I stand by that still. But now I've given it a promotion because it's best in class. And that's that. And now we're getting to some very big hitters. What do I call this? Now I'm really clutching at straws for categories. Woody Floral Musk. I don't know. Let's call it Woody Floral Musk. That is Dior Homme. Dior Homme. This is probably my third bottle. I don't have much left in here. I don't have another one of this lineup because I've been working through this one, which I chanced on last year on a road trip at some country town pharmacy that had a Dior Homme from 2005 sitting on their shelf. They only had one, and I bought it at a very reasonable price. This is the silver stem one. I ended up actually liking this one more than this reformulated black stem one. However, there is a better version of it, and it is the first iteration of a Dior Homme Cologne. If you've never heard of this or seen this, I understand. This came out in 2007, 2 years after the initial release, and this is also a silver stem version, but it's a cologne. And it doesn't last very long. However, it is like the silver stem Dior Homme with a little bit of florals in it, which just makes it so much nicer. Unfortunately, longevity is horrible. Fortunately though, I have enough of it to be able to absolutely wash myself in it when I wear it, and so therefore I don't really mind. The smell, however, the scent is best in class. You will not get better than this. All the other irises and iris-based fragrances that have, come before it or even after it, trying to mimic the same thing, even the flankers like Dior Homme Intense and Dior Homme Parfum, not best in class. Not best in class. I guess they're in a different class. But anything else like the Valentinos that came out that smelled like this, no. The Pradas that came out that may have smelled like this, no. Come on. Dior Homme, you're not getting any better than this. Best in class. No arguments. And so now we get to the very last one, which is number 13. I've showed you a whole bunch of fragrances. Number 13. What can be number 13? An aromatic aquatic. Let's do that because we haven't touched on any aquatics. Because I hate aquatics. They suck. But I still have them and I wear them sometimes. They're an occasion fragrance. Ugh. Aromatic aquatic, however, probably the greatest fragrance of all time, if you think about it, because it's still around, it's still selling strong, and I don't think anything has really made a mark like this worldwide, not limited to just Europe or America, worldwide. I'm talking about Acqua di Gio, the original. Nothing beats it. Sorry, nothing beats it. Might say it's dated now. Explain that to the sales figures. My bottle, I have to caveat. This is an original. And the way that you can tell it's an original is the batch code. Batch code at the very bottom. This says UW or something, which might mean it's from 2001 or 4. I can't remember. And then the back of the box has a short ingredients list, which means, you know, it came out pre-2004, because the ingredients list is just alcohol, Aqua, Parfum, BHT. This, great longevity, smell is still there, amazing. I wouldn't get the new ones. I wouldn't get the Parfum, I wouldn't get the Eau de Parfum, I wouldn't get the Eau de Toilette in the modern formulation either. The only other flankers that I would recommend or approve of, like they have the Raffi stamp of approval, would be the now discontinued Essenza, which was like a grown-up version of the original. And I don't know if I have too much left of this either. This is also like become extremely expensive, but hopefully it's the craziness has calmed down. This I approve of. That's good. A little bit spicier version, more grown-up version of the Eau de Toilette. And then the only other version that I would accept of this is Profumo. But be careful of the Profumo as well, because the Profumo has also been reformulated. And I think even the reformulated ones are now discontinued. Luckily, I've got this 180ml bottle, which there's plenty left in there. And I think the originals came in magnetic caps, and the lettering was shiny silver instead of a matte silver. So just be wary of that. Again, you can tell by the batch code what year it came out if you look carefully and check the batch code websites. So there you go. That is my list of best-in-class fragrances. Thanks for hanging on with me. I hope this has been interesting and informative to know about the best fragrances in the class of all of these different categories. And I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.